This is Dave Doggett, and you're listening to the Maritime Outdoorsman podcast, episode 7. Dun-dun, dun-dun. Dun it, dun it, dun it, dun it. All right, that was pretty cheesy. Welcome to the show. And in this particular episode, we are talking sharks and shark fishing. That's right. Our maritime waters are actually teeming with sharks. And we're going to connect with Captain Art Gaetan, who is a fantastic friend of mine. And without a doubt, the leading expert in all of Canada on shark sport fishing. And I've had the pleasure of hanging out with Art on many days, catching many sharks and creating a lot of memories. The purpose of this episode is to create awareness for shark fishing and the shark species that we do have here in Atlantic Canada. But at the same time, I would strongly encourage you, if you have never experienced shark fishing before in our waters, to get a group of people together and get in touch with Captain Art and consider booking what will no doubt be the trip of a lifetime. I've never experienced anything like it before, and I can't get enough of it. And actually, I'm going to do something a little different in this episode, because I plan on going out with Captain Art this summer, as of the time of recording this podcast. And I'm going to invite one lucky listener to join me on that shark fishing trip. So at the end of this episode, I'm going to talk about the details for how you can qualify to win that spot out on a shark fishing trip with me and Blue Shark Charters. So stay tuned for that at the end of the episode. And if you do not win that spot, definitely consider getting a group of people together and book what will no doubt be the trip of a lifetime. And it might even be something you find yourself doing year after year, because I know it sure is addicting. So without further ado, I'm going to connect up here with Captain Art, and we'll get him on the line for a chat. Okay, I've got Art Gaetan on the phone. Did I say that right, Art, your last name?
Yeah, that'll do, Dave.
That'll work. I've known Art for quite a few years now, and have been out shark fishing with Art, Captain Art. I should address him properly, and so should everybody else, Captain Art. And I don't think I can even count how many times I've been out with you now. It's just fantastic. So I thought I'd bring you into the show, and for all those people out there who have not experienced shark fishing in our waters off of Nova Scotia, I don't think they know what they're missing. I think we should talk about it for a few minutes. So how many years have you been doing the charter service, Art?
We're going into our 14th season right now, Dave.
Nice.
And but previous to this charter business itself, I've been fishing them for 25 years, I guess, before that.
Okay, so you're well seasoned in the ocean.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So for people who don't know much about the sharks that we have, maybe we'll just run through the main species that we have, and then we'll go from there too. What kind of species of sharks can people expect to encounter off our coast?
Well, off of Nova Scotia, there's roughly 26 to 28 different species of sharks that are in our waters. But during the summer months, typically from the months of June on through till the end of October, the sharks that you can encounter out there will be, the predominant one would be a blue shark. Then your next prominent one after that could be a porbeagle shark, which is in the same family as the great white, and the short-fin mako and the salmon shark. And then we get the short-fin mako, speaking of, which is probably, in my books, one of the top premier sport fish in the ocean. You can out-jump billfish, and they can top out at speeds of 100 kilometers an hour.
Incredible.
And then, believe it or not, we actually have great whites that cruise through our waters every now and then, and I've been privileged to see 4 of them so far, but we're not allowed to target them.
Okay, yeah, I think I remember seeing a newspaper article or something on the nightly news where one of your sightings was recorded a couple of years ago, I think it was. So that's pretty wild. I don't think many people realize just how many sharks are out there, and there is a sport fishing opportunity with the blues and the makos and the poor beagles. Is it catch and release? Or are there seasons on these fish? What do you have to say about that?
It's a strict catch and release.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can go fishing them.
Mm-hmm.
All you got to do is purchase a DFO license for I think it's $11.50. It's a strict catch and release unless you're fishing a sanctioned DFO tournament.
Okay.
But just to give you, with regards to numbers, last year we cost tagged, measured, and photographed 550 shark last year, 668 the year before. So when we go to fish, we go to catch fish. We just don't go for the sake of going out for a charter and taking the money.
Yeah, I can personally attest to that. It's and there's certain times of the year that you're more likely to run into numbers of fish, and then other parts of the season when you're more likely to run into bigger fish. Is that true?
Yeah, that's right. Normally your numbers are in the month of July, and it wouldn't be on the boat and get yourself tied into, like a really good day would be 30 fish. Now you're talking fish ranging anywhere from 20 to 30 pounds on up through to 200, 250. And then if you're targeting some bigger fish, and even the possibilities of banging into a mako, then you'll be looking at the month of August. August, a month of typically larger fish, but don't get me wrong, it wouldn't be uncommon to go out there and hook into 15, 20, or 25 fish in August as well.
Awesome.
September would be, another opportunity for makos, because the warmer that water gets, the makos, they move in a little bit closer. Numbers will start to fall off, but still really good fishing in September as well. But the problem with the month of September is wind.
Yeah.
So, we might book in 25 charters, but we may only get, 15 of them in.
Yeah, that's true. I've seen and I've talked to you on some of those days when you've just had to say, we're not going out today. And I mean, obviously that's a wise thing. You put safety first. So you take up to how many people out in a charter?
We carry a maximum of 10 people on board the boat. And the boat rates, they run at $1,750 plus tax, and it's for the day. And that's for up to 10 guys. So we have a barbecue on board, and we usually bring your refreshments and stuff with you. So it's a really good day on the water, like a really good day on the water.
Yeah.
And we also fish for shark as well if we get into the fly fishermen that wants to test their abilities with the fly rod. They can bring their own, or we supply fly reels and rods and line and flies and everything if they wish.
Yeah, and if you want to bring your own fly rod, you want to make sure it's at least what kind of weight fly rod are we talking about?
Be a 10 weight.
Like
I had a lot of guys come out and say that they can catch them with 7 weights and 8 weights, and you can. But the problem with them is that you can't lift them.
Yeah.
A lot of the times they'll get down there and they'll flare out the pec fins, and once a 70-pound fish has got his pecs flared out, you don't have the ability. You don't have the ability to lift that fish with a 7 or an 8 weight. So you'd be able to lift a little one, a small one, 20 or 30 pounder. But you get a fish 100 pounds, 150 pounds, you'll end up breaking gear. So you should be into the minimum of a 10 weight. Yeah,
for sure. Because I mean, even when you're sight fishing around the boat, sometimes there's multiple sharks. You might think you're going to get one of those smaller ones, but one of the big guys might come out and your rod, it's all over. And
there's another fish, by the way, that fish out here that you had the pleasure to You probably will never ask for that one again, will you?
No, I will not. I will not. Go ahead and tell everybody about those
Say,
those fish.
Ocean sunfish. And these things can get up to 4,000 kilograms. And we have them out there, actually. We see them anywhere from, 50 kilograms, which is a very small one, or kilos, I should say. Sorry, not kilograms, kilos.
Mm-hmm.
And they go, like I said, all the way up to 4,000 kilos, and the world record is 4,750 kilos.
That's a monster.
Talking about a fish that has got a lot of weight to it, and as awkward as they look, damn things can motor, and they'll head it to the bottom. That's usually where they're heading.
Yeah.
So when you hook, usually you look and see how deep the water is, because you better have that much line on, because he's going straight to the bottom, as you can attest to, Dave.
I can attest to that, and what seemed like a good idea on that hot sunny day. It's fine if somebody's looking, to wrestle I don't know how big that one was. Do you remember roughly how big that one was?
Yeah, well, we had the crane on board. That's when I had the other boat that time.
That's right.
We had a crane on board, and 4 guys with ropes on it.
Yeah. And
we couldn't even lift it out of the water. So you're looking at probably in the vicinity of 2,000 pounds.
Yeah, you're exactly right. As soon as that thing realized it was hooked, it just went straight down the bottom, and I think it was at least a 2-hour battle. It might have even been longer. It's a good workout if somebody's looking to shed some pounds. But awesome, definitely some of the most exciting fishing I've ever experienced. And actually, I want to get you back on another episode so we can have a little chat about our Bay of Fundy adventure sometime, but we'll definitely save that for another one.
Episode.
Yeah, that'll be another episode for sure. But the point I think that most people need to remember is, there's up to 10 people can go out. You're still talking, under $200 per person for a day that you're never going to forget, regardless of how the fishing is. And, there's just so much to see and do out there. I mean, you guys even get bird watchers out there, right?
Yeah, actually, that has become a kind of a sideline thing now, actually, with regards to the birds, because the birds that we see out there, you don't see them inland. And there's some pretty friggin' cool birds out there, man, I'll tell you what. Yeah. And the whales, the whales that we see, and the leatherback turtles, it's just it's a pretty cool day. Yeah,
it is. I mean, that's the thing I like about going out in the ocean. You just never know exactly what you're going to run into. And so one last thing I guess maybe we'll touch on in this particular episode is for people who might be a little prone to seasickness, or even those who aren't or don't think they are, in quotes. What kind of advice would you offer those people? Because there may be people listening who would love to come out for a day, but they're, either terrified that they're going to get sick and have a terrible day, ruin it for themselves and everybody else, or, so what kind of advice would you give people who might get seasick?
First thing, what I would do is don't go out the night before and get a bunch of beer into you and whatever it is, because, besides your hangover, you're going to have to deal with motion as well. Yeah. But all of the stuff that you should do is all on our website at www.bluesharkcharters.com. And it'll give you all the do's and the don'ts. And whether they realize it or not, it's basically all in their head.
Yeah.
It's more of your worry than actually it's what makes you sick. You can sit at a dinner table and think about what you're eating and make you sick. So it's all about that. So the best thing to do is just to get out there and let my dogs hop on your lap, and you don't worry about the seasickness, is then the way to go. But all fairness, there are some people that will be sick, because they're just those type of people that are going to get sick, and it really doesn't matter what you can do for them. But my recommendation is a couple of Gravol just as you go to bed. You get a good night's sleep, and then when you wake up in the morning, you can pop one more when you get on the boat, and that really should set you off for the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And again, clothing. Out there, the weather out there is completely different than inland.
Yeah, I mean, it can be, a 30-degree day in downtown Halifax, and, it can be a lot different out there. So, yeah, definitely bring a variety of clothing. So, awesome. I think that's a great introduction to what you offer, and, I think your service is second to none. I'm yet to encounter any other charter service anywhere close to what you have to offer, and I can definitely say that from personal experience. So yeah, I'm going to put in the show notes for this episode for people who are listening. I'll put a link to Art's website. Art's also got a Twitter feed that he updates through the season. So even if you're not able to get out on a particular trip, if your trip is coming up, you can check his Twitter feed and see what's going on any particular day or what's been going on the past week, and that's pretty cool in itself. So, Art, thanks for taking some time to chat with me about what you do, and hopefully some people will book a trip of a lifetime.
Yeah, again, thank you again for given me this opportunity, and if they want to check the progress of what we're doing, we photograph everything that goes on in the boat every day. And so what happens is when we go out and we get our fish, we come home and we upload our pictures. So you can see how many fish we're getting during the day, and, it kind of give you a timing of when you want to go. But great talking to you, Dave.
Awesome. So, yeah, if somebody wants to book a trip for the upcoming season, definitely get in touch with Art, Captain Art. And, again, I'll have a link to his site in the show notes, and we'll go from there. So thanks again, Art.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Bye.
All right, thanks again to Captain Art of BlueSharkCharters.com for joining me on this episode today. And last but not least, let's talk about how you can qualify to win that spot on my charter with Captain Art this summer. And there's a couple different ways that you can qualify to do that. I realize not everybody is active in social media. However, the first way that you can qualify is if you are a Facebook user, you can share a link to this episode of this podcast. And I'm going to have instructions for this in the show notes. So if it doesn't make a lot of sense here right now, just go to the show notes, which is at maritimeoutdoorsman.com/007, and you'll find the show notes for the episode there and the instructions on how to qualify. But the first way is to share the episode with your Facebook friends. And the second way that you can qualify to get that spot is to send an email to a friend letting them know about this particular episode so they can come have a listen and maybe even qualify themselves. So just an email, obviously not a spam email, because this should be only to somebody that you know and is expecting emails from you. And just an email with a link to the episode saying, hey, have you heard this episode of the Maritime Outdoorsman podcast? So once you do one of those two things, either share the episode on Facebook or send an email to a friend, just notify myself that you have done so, and I'll put you in the draw to win the spot on that trip. So that'll be fun. Hopefully you'll be the one joining me on that outing this summer, creating more memories, and hopefully wrestling into some sharks off our maritime coast. So until next time, this is Dave Doggett, and you've been listening to the Maritime Outdoorsman podcast.